Hi, I'm Carol Savage from mydish.co.uk.
Hi Carol, good to see you. Can you tell me a little bit about MyDish?
mydish is a recipe website where people come on and find great homemade recipes and they share their signature dishes and dishes they've been handed down from generation to generation.
So what type of people are they, and how many of them are there?
It's actually quite interesting because we try to, people sort of immediately assume it's going to be all housewives or older people, and actually I reckon 50% of the people on our come to visit us in our membership are men. So it's a 50-50 split. We have about 4,000 members and about 60 to 70,000 people at the moment per month having a look at the websites. Hopefully it's going to be a lot more than that, but that's where we're at the moment.
But you've got a pretty substantial base already, which many businesses struggle to get anywhere near to. No doubt you've had a few challenges building that up, and I just wonder, when you first started the business, how did you think you were going to get them in? Well,
when we first started the business, what I thought has been completely disproved, and I was completely wrong. So that's quite an interesting thing, and we've really only been going live since about a year now. Initially, I thought it'd be a good way to go to corporates and get all of their employees, and we managed to, before we raised money, we sold our platform to a couple of corporates. But since the economy has been so tight, it's not been core to a lot of companies, and we've had to rethink how we get to our consumers. One of the things that I recognised straight away was that we didn't have the funding behind us to go out there on television and do mass marketing. Advertising costs a lot of money. So we had to be very clever, and a couple of the things that I think we've done quite well is go to other communities rather than try and advertise and get communities to come to us. So we've had quite a broad approach of going through, trying to get out to people, and it's all about getting to different communities. So we've gone to schools to try and get schools to come on board. Let me just back up a bit, actually. If I talk about the communities, what we recognised in order to get the communities was that we needed tools that would benefit them. So we created software where people can make their own recipe books and recipe calendars, like an iTunes for recipes. And with that, we were able to go to schools, to charities, to say, if you can get people to contribute recipes, we can create these books and you can raise funds for your school or funds for your charity. And we've had quite a bit of success with going through to schools. Charities on board at the moment, Marie Curie, we've worked with Tommy's, we've worked with Genes for Genes, a number of different charities where they can get their supporters just to contribute one recipe, and then by compiling it together in a book, they can sell it and raise money for their charity.
Have you tested that out as a strategy at the outset?
No, to be honest with you, no. What we started with was the idea that we were going to be the most popular UK recipe food and drink site for the people. It's not a branded Jamie Oliver or Sainsbury's. It's just sharing the people's homemade dishes. And we had to, we tried to go through to corporates, which we've done successfully with 2, but we knew that we had to get out into different ways. So all of this has just been about testing different ways. I think the fundamental thing that we've worked with is going to communities rather than trying to bring communities to us.
Right. So that's where you've had most of your success now in building. Well, what are some of the things you've had to do to get to those communities?
Well, what we needed to do was provide sort of a benefit or a tool for them to use. So, it's very easy to say go to schools, but just to go to schools and say, would you like to put your recipes up, is rubbish, and they wouldn't have done it. But going to them and say, we've got a tool that you can create your own recipe book and raise funds for your schools, then it becomes a lot more interesting for them to say, what a great thing, we can teach children about healthy eating, we can get ICT teachers to teach them about computing, and by the way, we can raise money for our school.
Great stuff, yeah. And how did you approach them in the first place? And what's
we're still approaching them, so let's not, I don't want you to sort of think that it's all so successful, because we've done very small pilots. We've got about 25 schools on board. So, there are 32,000 schools. There are many more who don't know about us, and I want to get out there.
So how did you get those 25?
What we did to start with was we wrote to them, direct mail, to a pilot in London and the South East. And then we did a little bit of PR where we went through to a couple of the local newspapers and fundraising papers. What we want to do is be able to phone some of the schools, write to them, and just broaden it out. I think you need to be able to show, with any of these communities, schools, charities, any of them, they need to come onto the site and see that other people have done it. So we need to get testimonial people to go on and do it.
You didn't mention the word email there.
With schools, it's very difficult to do emails, and with charities actually. So emails were a very difficult thing to do. I think email works with targeted people. We've done a direct mail to 50,000 people, which is another community of people who are interested in food and drink. And that test is still, we're still in the middle of testing it, so I don't know if it's worked or not. But the other ones know that they'll go online, but quite old-fashioned in the way that they want communication.
So what are some of your ideas going forward?
We want to get to associations, again, sort of for a fundraising tool, but broader, so things like the Girl Guides, Scouts, anyone who's interested in A, cooking, B, trying to kind of bring family recipes together, and C, raising funds. The other area that I think is hugely untapped is the over 50 market, because they've got a lot of time on their hand and a lot of great recipes that we want to grab hold of.
Okay, and finally, what's the biggest thing you've learned?
Oh, biggest thing I've learned, I think, is to try and test and set up, if it's an online business, set up your business so that you can adapt and move and test things, regularly and rapidly. So, we've tried all kinds of SEO marketing, search engine optimization. We've tried PPC, CPC, which is cost per click. And it's easy to be able to test what's working in that area. But I think the biggest thing is to be able to, to go out in a number of different areas and test what works, and then continue those.
Carol, that's great advice. Thank you very much.
All right.